Good afternoon, YouTube, and happy Mother's Day to everyone. This is Ty, Middlehead Weatherman. Hope you guys are having a good start to the or good end to the weekend so far. Hopefully, you guys are spending time with your mothers today. I took yesterday off. Wasn't really much to go on about, so it was a much needed break on my part. But we're back today. We have a little bit to talk about. We're also going to do a long range forecast. Might be a little bit longer of a video. I'll try and prevent that from happening, but I'm just going to give you guys a fair warning. But we are mainly focused on severe weather, but we are going to talk about a little bit of the fire weather as well, because there's some pretty significant stuff going on there. We have a marginal risk of severe weather today. There's two areas, not very high risk, not very high hazard risk of any kind. But the main area is for the northern plains around Minnesota, the Dakotas, and northern Nebraska. And then our second area of concern is near Fort Worth, Dallas, and Texas. So we'll quickly look at this, talk about the fire weather, and then we'll take a look at the pattern. We'll see what has changed from last time and what might lie ahead in the future. So we have a low tornado threat, of course. It's usually how almost all marginal risk are. Then for the wind and hail threat, we're at 5%. Wind threat's a little bit smaller in scale compared to the hail threat today, which is always good news. Yesterday we had a marginal risk as well. Not anything impressive by any stretch. About 16 reports of severe weather, all of it hail and damaging winds. None of it caused any sort of major damage. So let's hope that today we stay on that streak. However, when we look at Monday, though, that's when business starts to pick up a little bit more. Severe weather threat increases, and this is an event for Iowa and Wisconsin mainly. On the far end of the boot of Minnesota, we might get towards the toe of Minnesota, because I always have associated with it being shaped as boot. There is a slight risk of severe weather. This includes Des Moines and La Crosse, Wisconsin. The marginal risk, we have Duluth, Minnesota, and the city of Minneapolis as well. So the hazard types are a little bit higher. We have a 15% chance of hail this time, as well as wind, and our tornado threat has actually increased now. We have one. We have, in our slight risk area, we've even gone up to 5%. So all of the hazard types for Monday are all the same in threat level, so to speak. So this will be an area to watch closely. And we'll then look at day 3, where we have yet another slight risk. We can't look at the hazard types right now, but we can kind of get a look at things using the Euro, which we will in a moment. But this is actually the same areas that were affected by last week's severe weather system. Caused a few tornadoes around this area towards Abilene and Lubbock. You guys are under the gun again for some severe weather, unfortunately. Kind of hard to say what the threat is. I do think that there is another tornado threat with this, but we'll confirm that in just a minute. Then on days 4 through 8, thankfully on day 4, potential's too low, so we'll have a little bit of a lull in the action. Then on day 5, we have a very widespread area of severe weather. This is for the northern plains yet again, but this includes almost all of Minnesota now. Stretches all the way towards the U.S.-Canadian border. Includes a good portion of North Dakota as well now. South Dakota is in play as well. And it stretches all the way down into central Nebraska. It seems like on this one, from what I read in the synopsis earlier, all hazards are possible yet again. But this is the only day as of right now where we have a longer range severe weather threat. On days 6, 7, and 8, predictability is too low, so these will need to be watched, but as of right now, we have nothing to talk about on those days. So with it being a long range forecast, we're going to take a look at the geopotential height and anomaly. So basically, if you haven't been on this channel before and you end up watching today, this is basically a map that kind of points out storm systems, points out how the jet stream's moving, and also points out areas where we have a ridge developing or a trough. Ridge is usually highlighted in the area in the red, trough is usually an area in the blue. And whenever you see these lines here, whenever they're close together like that, there's usually a strong storm system around, especially once they form up around an area they form up in a concentrated area. So move this along. We move this along. Not a super impressive storm system, but it has more than enough oomph in it, and it almost kind of has a slight trough ejection type look to it, but it's not quite strong enough to be like ringing an alarm for a major outbreak. This of course could change. We still have a couple of days to go, but this is just my overall thoughts on that. So into the evening and overnight hours, I would expect some severe weather around the area that we had highlighted for Monday. And right behind that, here's another storm system. This one looks a little bit more stout, but it doesn't really hold together for too long. And this is towards the end of the week on the 13th. We'll have to watch this real close. Meanwhile, towards the south and east, we have a really interesting look right here. This could be something of something of a tropical entity or something of tropical-esque nature. I'll have to take another look at that. I may make another video later if I can get some confirmation on that. But this is also towards the end of the week, so we'll be watching that really close. Hurricane season isn't too far away, so it doesn't surprise me that we could get a storm that forms ahead of schedule. So we'll move this along. Ridge rebuilds. We're starting to get a little further out into the forecast. Looks like we get a little bit of a shift in the jet stream, and maybe we might get a little storm system around northern plains, and it pushes its way east this time. Of course, we're getting to the 200-hour mark, so things get a little bit wacky after this. But this little area of cold air really starts to try to dig in here around the Ohio Valley and into the northeast. This has the look of cooler than average temperatures for a lot of areas, but this doesn't last. Then our ridge tries to build back up. Then around the 19th, we have a look of another potential storm trying to pop up. Of course, the further out we get on this model, the more uncertain we get. We'll have to watch the later into the month, around the 22nd and 23rd, for another storm system. Might affect the northern plains, and that's the end of our model run. So let's actually take a look at the European model here. And we'll also take a look at a couple of other things on it as well in regards to potential severe weather threats for the week. Sneak over there real quick. Trying to get all this set up here. Okay. Click the wrong thing here, apologize. Here we go, that's what I want. We'll pop that up later. But we're going to take a look at what the radar could potentially look like over the next week or so. Or next 10 days, I would say. So this is what the radar could look like currently. So not really a whole lot going on. We do have some winter weather around the northeast. We're still cooler than average over there. Got a little bit of snow. Here's our storm system that's expected to cause a little bit of the severe weather today and into tomorrow. It's also on the backside of it got a good little bit of snow. It's starting to get into the four corners. Then we get into Monday, we get this little messy MCS kind of look. Might get a few discrete cells around Minnesota. But then over towards the backside of this, I think the main threat's going to be heavier rain more than anything from the looks of it. You might get some hail because of the convection. But be honest, it's, like I said, it's not really impressive. There is a good bit of low-level wind shear around here, so that could lead to something popping up around central Minnesota. Maybe. I'm not very confident in this threat from the looks of it right now. Okay. Maybe I was just looking at the wrong time frame. No? Euro isn't really showing me much anything right now. This is the second or third time I've seen that happen. Here we go. Might be something here. There we go. So we do have a good little bit of low-level shear here. Does look like there's a tornado threat into the overnight or on Thursday. Oh, not Thursday. Wow. Into late Monday night into Tuesday morning. This has a very nocturnal-esque look to it, mainly towards eastern Iowa from the looks of it. So this forms up into a line of storms, and then our next storm system pops up here. And then we see a couple of interesting areas here. Right on the we have this really odd one-off area of damaging straight line winds from the looks of it here. Could be a little bow echo on Tuesday night. Then on Wednesday, also on Tuesday night, it looks like we have another line of storms that tries to pop up around Texas. This could become an area of interest as well. I remember on previous videos that I saw pretty impressive Cape values around here, so I wouldn't rule out a severe storm. And there we have it. Look at that, marginal severe. Uh-oh. So move this along here. Dang it, this thing wants to go bonkers on me. So Wednesday, things are expected to calm down, and it definitely looks like it does so. Our next storm system is right here. I would be a little hard pressed to say that this won't go severe. I do think that there could be a marginal risk on Wednesday. This definitely has a look like it could do something. I mean, we have decent low-level shear once again. We have high temperatures and dew points into the, from the looks of it, into the late evening hours on Wednesday. Dang it, not again. And then we have what looks like even more storm systems trying to pop up here. Marginal tornado threat. I wonder if I misread that. Yeah, that's Wednesday, so I did misread that. Just trying to make sure I have my info right, but definitely looks like there is a threat to be had on Wednesday, so I do expect some changes. Guess it's just a little too far out to really tell for sure whether or not they should put a slight risk. I think by day 3 we'll kind of know what's going on there. And then this moves off to the east and into Minnesota, into Wisconsin. And we do have a severe hazard type once again. But this was to be expected. I think there's going to be an area for day 4 right around here, and then probably another area right here. So we'll move this a little further along. If it'll go for me. There we go. Then here's our storm system right here, and this has a very interesting look as well. I do think this area could go a little bit further south, but look at that. It's a marginal tornado threat. There isn't really impressive wind shear over here. Maybe closer towards the mid levels we might have a little bit of turning of the winds with height. Dew points are very impressive. It's definitely plenty of instability. Cape values are off the charts. We're sitting at over 3,000. I remember seeing a lot of this last week, so the potential has always been there for severe weather throughout the week. But I guess there's been some model uncertainty that's I guess, made them, I wouldn't necessarily say gun shy, but, well, just uncertain. So, see this line of storms move further off. It's on that southeast flank. I definitely think this will be a damaging straight line wind event going into the overnight hours, which is really concerning. And it'll be interesting to see how far this line goes. From the looks of it, not very far. Then Friday, we have a mess of weather that starts to form up around the southeast. Meanwhile, we get more snow around the northwest. It's almost like it's a trail that's coming in from Canada, but it's a little bit lighter in nature. This, of course, could uptick. And we just keep on seeing these little bits and pieces, almost like segments of storms out ahead of this thing. Just the Gulf of Mexico is just open, and it's just throwing moisture everywhere. Looks like we might get another straight line wind event in Iowa once again. And then another one right after that on Saturday, which is crazy. Then on the 15th on Sunday, we have a mess of weather that's working its way to the Ohio Valley. I don't know whether or not this goes severe. According to this sounding analog, it seems very likely that it will. Uh-oh. Okay, getting towards the end of the model run here. So it looks like the Great Lakes is in play for that. May get some rain in the southeast towards the middle of the month. And then might have to even watch the northeast on about another week from now. About 8 days from now, according to the Euro on the 16th. There might be a day of severe weather over there. Of course, with it being this far out, it's hard to say. Then we have another low that tries to pop up around the southeast, middle of the month, but that's the end of our model run. So there's still plenty of stuff to keep an eye on. Definitely will go a little further into the severe weather threat for this week, especially Monday's threat. We'll make a good video about that tomorrow as well. Maybe even tonight if it upticks. But I'll take a quick look at the flash density here just to see how intense things could get. So tonight we're definitely having to watch this area super close because we're getting some pretty high density stuff going on here. We're getting towards the 10 strikes a day according to this. Pretty good numbers. Right where we've been talking about there being severe weather, getting a lot of activity. So I'm just looking at this loop here. So Monday. So in the Monday evening, here are our two threat areas. Then going into Tuesday, here's our threat areas. And here's Wednesday into Thursday morning. Here's our threat areas. Then on Friday, there's a lot of activity around here. I do think that this could uptrend into a slight risk. And into Saturday, looks like we got a lot of activity here. I want to make one thing clear though. This doesn't always guarantee severe weather, even if you have a lot of activity on the flash density here. So just because if you see your area on here doesn't necessarily mean you're going to have severe thunderstorms or tornadoes. It just means that there could be thunderstorms in your area. So on Sunday, like I said, a lot of activity pretty much from the Ohio Valley all the way down towards the Gulf Coast. And into Monday, things calm down for a bit. See a little activity around the northeast, especially around the Virginia and Carolina coast. And towards the end of our model run, we get a lot more activity. Ooh, we may even see a little bit of thunder snow around southern Idaho a couple weeks from now. It's interesting. And then about 10 days out, might have to watch the southeast again for some storms. But that's it, you guys. That's all I got for you. This afternoon. We won't keep the video under 20 minutes, but I was close. I'm starting to get better at these longer range forecasts. But that's it, you guys. Once again, happy Mother's Day. Enjoy your time with your mothers, and I'll see you in the next video.